Hello and welcome to the latest episode of The Hex with Daniel Robertson and Armand Kafai.
Where's
No John
John?
Arnold this week. He's off on assignment for episode number 50. We've got him out on assignment. So no John today, but Armand, we have got lots of MLS playoffs to get into and Liguilla is back. So we will discuss the six hottest topics in North American soccer on The Hex. All right, I'm on the marquee matchup of the weekend in the MLS conference semifinals. LAFC going to BC Place to play Vancouver, and it delivered. It lived up to all the
Partidazo.
hype. Partidazo, 2-2 after 90 minutes. The Whitecaps go up 2-0. Then LAFC equalizes almost the last kick of the game with a ridiculous free kick from Son. And then Vancouver survives through 30 minutes of extra time, down a man, and they win it in PKs. So the question I want to ask you, did LAFC choke this away, or did Vancouver deserve to move on?
Is it choking if you never, I guess, had the lead?
I would say
Yeah, I
so.
mean,
If you're up a man, if anyone who watched that match, I think, and the chances they had, I
they hit
think,
the post three times at one point. Like it was
yeah, but they were,
crazy. Like
but
in
they
the
were good
game.
chances, right? So
Yeah,
was it a choke, or do you think or Vancouver deserved it?
I don't think it was a choke at all. I think they got the chances, they just didn't score it. I wouldn't say it's a choke. Like a choke would be like they didn't produce anything, I'd probably say, but they produced opportunities to score in those situations. And the ball just didn't go in. Like
Mhm.
like they should have probably had a goal in that last like scramble, but the ball just didn't go in. For me, it showed though that Vancouver did not just roll over when they were down to nine men. I mean, how many teams are 11v9 for what, like 10 or 15 minutes?
Yeah.
And like, yes, they got battered. Yes, they got like shelled in moments, but you saw Sebastian Berhalter just hype up the crowd. You saw them lean into that energy, and then they're able to force penalties and win. For me, Vancouver won the game as much as LAFC, I guess, choked or lost the game. I don't think. I think LAFC, to be honest, at the beginning of the game, made errors in how they set
Sure.
up their team.
Yep.
The second half switches from Chief Gerundolo. It's almost like a night and day situation from what the team looked like. And then from there, it was kind of, you had Son, you had Boanga cooking out there, and we got the result that we saw. But I mean, for me, I think Vancouver's resilience, like it down to nine men, D-Rob, like that's
Yeah.
insanely hard to defend.
I think that's, the notes I made were you have to give Jesper Sorensen so much credit for this game, and it shows the culture he has built there because that is a game you have to win on culture, which a lot of teams would have crumbled. You have to be so well drilled, one at the back, and just have that inner belief that you're going to get through it. So I think that the number one winner from this game for Vancouver is their coach. I think that's what stood out to me. Number two, how many times over the Steve Cherundolo era at LAFC has the ball always bounced right for them? And they put that, you create your own luck, and Denny Bouanga creates so many chances. And they've always had really exciting players that create chances, but it has felt like the ball kind of always bounces their way. And this was maybe like the first time that the ball just didn't really bounce their way. I agree, it wasn't a choke, but I think again, you have to give all the credit in the world to Vancouver for riding their luck, for surviving. We'll talk about the conference semifinal here soon, but yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it was just Vancouver getting by on pure grit, pure heart. Full credit to the crowd there. I think MLS could have done a much better job with their
Yeah.
broadcast to bring that through the broadcast. I didn't think they did a great job of it with the way it was produced. But yeah, full credit to Vancouver. They are moving on.
I mean, amazing. I mean, Daniel, that game, that's the game, and I was texting you about it. That's the game that makes someone fall in love with MLS.
Yeah,
A Vancouver fan, that's their
if you're
first
a
ever game
Whitecaps
going
fan,
to.
yeah, you're a fan for life now. Yeah,
Exactly. And that gave me obviously the same situations, but often I know you and I talked about the 2015 Western Conference semifinal with FC Dallas, where
yeah,
they played Seattle in the second leg. Chad Marshall scores a header to Seattle thinks to get the lead. Then Walker Zimmerman scores in the last second to tie the game. It goes to extra time, etc. That was a game for a lot of people. They're like, oh yeah, that's the game I remember when going to
right.
FC Dallas games, etc. I mean, we went to a jersey exchange a couple weeks ago. And we were talking. We saw a ticket stub from that game, and we were talking about that. These are the moments, and these are the marquee situations that make fans into,
Well, and I
fans of the
was,
team.
you're thinking too, how many people were there, the Korean population from Vancouver that are there to cheer on Sun, but then they are like, oh, I'm gonna come back. Yeah, I'm bummed he
This
lost,
was
but I'm
fun.
I'm gonna come back and support the Whitecaps. And if you're someone who is maybe an MLS, a skeptic or whatever, maybe you're overseas, watch this game. You're not happy about Thomas Mueller, Sonny, legends of the game doing these things. Yeah, again, full credit to Vancouver. We'll see what they can do in San Diego. On the other end of the spectrum, I was excited for this game. Kind of fizzled out. Miami went BTA, belt to A on FC Cincinnati. 1-0 after the first half, then they get 3 goals in the second half. It really went downhill quick for the odds. The winning odds went way downhill really fast for FC Cincinnati. So, Armand, this was an FC Cincinnati team that we've all been skeptical of throughout the season. The expected goals didn't really match up with their results, but they got a great win in that game 3 against Columbus to kind of say, hey, we're not going to be an easy out here. They did kind of turn out to be an easy out. So how did Miami do it?
Do we have to eat crow with John yet?
He's
With the
not here.
whole,
He's on assignment.
well, okay, well, with the whole Son and Messi thing, because it's all Lionel Messi. I mean, this guy pulled the strings for what? The goal, he had the header goal, which Messi header goal, it's
Yeah.
a rare thing to see. Then
Collector's item.
he had the assists, just spraying out balls, catching Cincinnati in those transitionary moments. But
Mhm.
one thing that I think Matt Doyle pointed out was that Miami's actually been pretty, we make fun of their defensive shape. We make fun of kind of how they get spread out and can kind of get exploited, when Sergio Busquets becomes a traffic cone. But the thing that Miami that does so well is they avoid those situations. They
Right.
they again keep control. They keep the shape. So yes, you have Sergio Busquets, who's an old player in the midfield that will get run over in transition. But if you're never in those situations, then that's not going to happen, right? I think they're also going to play against a New York NYCFC team, which we'll talk about later. That also sets up really well for them. And for me, it was that, Daniel. It's the way that they're set up, the way that they can control the game is one thing I've really noticed throughout this like playoff run through those 3 games, or 4 games, excuse me. They control the game in a way with the ball to where you almost have to play the way that they want to play.
Mhm.
And for me, yeah, it's Leo Messi. I mean, Leo Messi's played those balls times at end day, and the rest of those guys. And it's was really impressive the way that they beat up on Cincinnati. I think if Cincinnati had a different matchup, they wouldn't have gotten beat up like this. I think Miami right now is showing why they're in the driver's seat to win the Eastern Conference.
I agree with you, and there's just a couple of things that really stood out to me where if I'm Pat Noon and I'm looking back at this and I'm like, I want to have this over. They did not pick up a yellow card in the entire match, FC Cincinnati. You can't go into a game like this against an Inter Miami team that all you're trying to do in the first 30 minutes, 45 minutes is get them out of their head, to get them angry, to get them pissed off at someone, whether it's you, whether it's the ref, whether it's whoever it is. You just want to get them thinking about anything other
Make them lose
than
their head.
right. Get them to think about anything other than getting Messi the ball in dangerous areas. That's all you want to get them off of. They committed 8 fouls in the match. That's unacceptable. Now, I'm not saying I want to go full Eric Quill ball where you're just, like the game against Vancouver where they just, kick them for 90 minutes. But you can't leave that match without a chunk of flesh, without a yellow card, with 8 fouls. That's where if I'm FC Cincinnati, I'm thinking we showed Miami way too much respect in this match. And in our house, we didn't put the referee to tough decisions. The 2 midfielders, Samuel Guidi and Pavel Buka, they just didn't do enough. And like you said, though, maybe Cincinnati, although Cincinnati did beat Miami like 3-0 earlier this season. So I don't want to say they're like a terrible matchup for them, but it was a perfect situation for Miami. And again, to me, as I was watching it, I was just thinking like Messi's not, there's no one Messi's worried of out here. He's not worried about the ref. They're doing nothing to get him out of their head. When the Seattle game where they were where Seattle played them perfectly, they were in Miami's head from the first minute. They were, Obed Vargas, like Messi was so mad at him because he was pulling on him, he was kicking on him. They were doing all these things, towing that line. Cincinnati never did that.
Do you think that they showed them too much respect or too little respect?
I get however you want to determine it, right?
Yeah, because to
Same point.
me, because to me, it's like I think that like again, you don't have to show like again, showing respect is kind of like what Nico Estevez said about with LAFC, right? Like we
Sure.
gave them too much respect. We get like or sorry, we gave them too little respect. We're too naive and they smashed us. I feel like they're the same way as Cincinnati. They give them too little respect. Like, oh, we're gonna play. You're still playing against
Right.
arguably one of the best, like the best players in the world, and
Of
he's
all
showing
time.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Of all time, excuse me. And he's showing it in multiple facets of the game. You know, Daniel, like watching Leo Messi play at this age, going into a World Cup year, I mean, it's incredible to
Well,
watch him.
I agree, but still, I think there are ways to play Messi out of the match. There's ways to play Jordi Alba out of the match. There's ways to put Busquets under a ton of pressure. Before the game, if we had said the keys, get Messi out of his head thinking about anything else but the game. Don't let Jordi Alba get the ball in the wings. Put Busquets into 2v1 situations. They didn't do any of those. And
No, they
so
just rolled over kind of.
right, and once the ball started rolling, they're not a team that's built to kind of pull it out from that. They needed that to be 0-0 in the
They need
last
to be
10
tight.
minutes.
Exactly.
And it wasn't, and they are going home. And Miami will host every game as long as they are winning. The road to MLS Cup goes through Miami. The other two conference semifinals, both 1-0s. We had NYCFC. Stop me if you've heard this before. Maxi Morales with a goal in the
Timeless.
first half. Timeless. He did it again. NYCFC held on to shut out Philadelphia. I should have seen. I bet they weren't shut out at home all year, maybe once or twice, but that can't have happened very often. On the other side, last night on Monday night, San Diego held on for a 1-0 kind of late win over Minnesota. So, Armand, which 1-0 win was better and more impressive?
NYCFCs. They just lost Alonso Martinez. They lost Pereira due to injury. I think both wins were impressive in their own rights. But when you look at, I mean, on paper, Philadelphia should have ran over NYCFC. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no disrespect to NYCFC, but they were down a few guys. And a lot like Vancouver, kind of gathering around the players that you they're able to pull out result. Matt Freeze made some really big saves, big for his World Cup run that he's obviously pushing for number one spot. But I'm just disappointed in Philadelphia. I mean, what a horrible week for them, right? Ernst Tanner gets suspended with the report from Pablo Maurer that came out about his misconduct across multiple levels. And misconduct is being very nice when I say that. And then their style of play gets a rebuke again, even though, hey, they Philadelphia's story is hilarious, Daniel. I don't know how much you keep track of it. But Matt Doyle has been hammering them. I know I've mentioned a couple times, but he's been
Yeah.
hammering them because Philadelphia hammered teams that didn't make the playoffs. And you need to do that to make the playoffs. But against teams that were top, they struggled. I mean, this is a team that lost 7-0 to Vancouver. I know there is a bit of rotation in there, but they struggled.
Well, but at the same time, they also only lost one home game all year. Like this was a
Right.
choke. They only lost one home game, and you're
It's
going
a
to play
choke,
good teams at home.
100%.
So I looked it up while you were talking. Yeah, they only lost one home game all year. They were only shut out once all year, and that was in April. So they hadn't
Was
been
that against
shut out.
Vancouver?
It was actually against Orlando, but
Okay.
they hadn't been shut out at home. That was on the road. The loss
Oh,
to
okay,
Vancouver was
fair.
on the road.
Yep.
They hadn't been shut out at home basically all season. They hadn't lost at home since week two. On March 16th, their second
But
home.
Daniel, my problem with what Philadelphia had done is Ernst Tanner was so eager to get a victory lap over Jim Curtin. He first off declared one in April. Said, I think time's going to show he made the right decision, right? They won a supporters shield. These guys were all declaring victory laps on this. Oh yeah, we proved that. I'm like Bradley Carnell. I'm not a bad coach. I'm a great coach. Like why I get fired out of St. Louis, etc. These guys were all doing victory laps, and guess what? Like you can't do victory laps when you still have MLS Cup to win. This is still an important trophy. The Supporters Shield. I'm gonna throw a hot take out there. Right now, in its current iteration, is I used to think it was so important and stuff. It's an unbalanced schedule. You're beating
Right.
up on like 10 Eastern Conference teams that are really bad. I think it's a massive choke, Daniel. I think this is if I was Philadelphia, I'd be looking myself in the mirror and being like, we let an opportunity like this just slip away.
They
right?
did create chances though, and I think that the problem was too though when you have three forwards or two or three really good forwards in these moments, you kind of have none because
Exactly.
it was like who's the guy that's going to build us out of this? There's
Well,
not
it should
that
have
one
been
guy.
Baribo.
But I will say my more impressive result is actually the one in San Diego. I thought that 1-0 win was bigger for a number of reasons. One, I feel like at this point we're forgetting this is still an expansion team.
Yep.
That is incredibly impressive to me. And we were all skeptical about Mikey Varas at the start of the season. We were skeptical about what San Diego's doing. There's no reason to be skeptical anymore. And if I'm going to give Jesper Sorensen credit, I think when you look at a game like this, you've also got to give all the credit to Mikey Varas
He should have
because
been coach of the year, man.
he
I mean,
should have
it's
been coach
incredible they didn't win coach of the year.
should have been coach of the year, and they just remained patient. And this is exactly what I said last week in the Keys. Now I was saying it for Vancouver, but it's okay if you're playing LAFC and you're 0-0 after 60 minutes, after 70 minutes. San Diego kept to that too. And they said, look, it's okay that we're 0-0. When did the goal come? 72nd minute. It's
Yep.
okay that we're after an hour. We're dominating possession. And remember, they lost 3-1 to Minnesota earlier this year at home. And I was looking and kind of comparing the games. Armand, San Diego had 28 shots in that first game. They had 9 last night. They only had 1 shot on goal. Now, you would think like, oh, we want to create more than that. But in this moment, they didn't. They stayed compact. They didn't overdo it. Minnesota was just waiting for that one moment. When are they
Yep.
going to
Yep.
commit forward too much? And they didn't. They stayed disciplined. And I was looking, Minnesota only had one through ball the entire match. And that's what
Yep.
they're looking to do is get the ball and go quickly in transition.
And how many
And they just
scenarios
waited.
did we see, Daniel, like last night when I know we were both watching a game where they were trying to play long balls to Yeboah and Cicinega just came, picked it up
Right.
consistently.
They didn't overcommit numbers. They just knew, look, even if it takes us to extra time, we're gonna get that chance. Dreyer's gonna get that chance. He did, and he scored. So for me, that was still that was to me just a little bit more impressive. San Diego, who will now host Vancouver next week in what should be another partidazo.
No, and I mean, you bring up a good point because Minnesota played haram ball. They were trying to frustrate the hell out of San Diego. I mean, they were so deep, compact, and trying to exploit. And San Diego is a team that, Daniel, let's not forget, they still make mistakes in possession. They're not all those players are used to playing with the ball as much, but they were calm and just really patient in possession. And Jair pounced the opportunity to score. Daniel, I want to talk about San Diego for like 1 second because, like, again, I want to give credit to what Mikey Varas and Tyler Heaps have kind of built there, because this is a style of play that we've never seen from expansion side ever,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, it's
Ever.
not like the St. Louis situation where it was really one of the luckier seasons in MLS history.
No, they've been doing this consistently for 34 games. Credit to them, and now to host a Western Conference final in your expansion year. I mean,
Impressive.
that's impressive.
Speaking of that Western Conference final that they will host, let's get a little preview here. We've got
Oh
two
yeah.
games. They're both on Saturday, right? I believe they're both
Yep.
on
Yep.
Saturday. The conference finals. First, we've got San Diego FC hosting Vancouver, number one versus number two seed, which doesn't happen that often. Number one versus number two. Who do you think is going to advance from this one? Because we just talked about it's going to be a completely different game than for San Diego than the game they played against Minnesota.
This is probably one of the most interesting games that you could have had of all these, right? Two teams that want the ball,
Hmm.
two teams that demand the ball, not just want the ball, demand it. They're gonna press for it and win it back.
Yep.
For me,
Vancouver was
Daniel,
pressing like madmen against
ex
LAFC.
literally, Vancouver, there was moments to where Timothy Tillman would get the ball, and he would have 2 seconds to
Hmm.
figure out something. If not, Kubas is coming to pick up the scraps, and go forward to find Muller, etc. Daniel, for me, I think I'm not gonna call it Cinderella because they actually have the outstanding. I think the amazing expansion season for San Diego ends
I do
in
too.
because while I think they have quality players across the pitch, I think there is a bit more experience when it
Hmm.
comes to the Vancouver side, and also Tristan Blackman was a game changer when he went into the game. I mean,
Well, he's not going to play.
he
He's
won't be
not going to
there anymore.
play
Yeah,
on
he's not gonna
Saturday.
play. He's not gonna play. So you're gonna
But
have
he's only played one playoff
right,
game, so
exactly.
they
You're gonna
have
have
gotten used to playing without him.
Ralph Priso, who is excellent.
Hmm.
And I guess whoever his center back partner is going to be because Halbuni has an ACL injury, so he won't be playing in the match. But Thomas Muller is a conductor out there.
Hmm.
You see him point, hey, you need to come here. Hey, you need to come here, etc., etc. Ali Ahmed is dangerous on the wing. I really like Emmanuel Sabia as well too. It's funny because both the teams are kind of the same team if you really look at it. To be honest with you, they're very similar constructed, but I think Kubas is the key player in the middle.
Sure.
Andres Kubas, when can ball recover and spray the ball forward so quickly. Sebastian Berhalter can do the same thing. While I do like Sakharov, I totally butchered his name, with San Diego and Godoy, I just think Kubas and Berhalter are better in that midfield battle, and they're going to cause problems, and they can find Muller, they can find the guys up top to push and
Right,
score. I don't
right.
know what you think, but
No, I agree, and I think now the only difference is they'll be missing Pedro Vite, obviously, who they sold him. Obviously, he's been gone for a
yeah,
while. But when I think about why I'm mentioning that is I think back to the Triple C run and their CONCACAF Champions Cup run, and you mentioned this is a veteran team, and they've been through a lot. I mean, think about this season. One, how many games Vancouver has played, but how many knockout games they've played, and
remember they got
high
their ass
leverage
kicked
games.
in CCC in the
Right.
final, 6-0.
Well, they did, but they're going to learn from that. And
Exactly.
in the one-offs, and they don't panic. They didn't panic against LAFC even after a moment where they could have crumbled. Yes, they did give up some chances, but bend but don't break. I agree with you. I think that experience is going to be a little bit too much for them. I actually think they're going to win like 3-1. So
Really.
yeah, that's going to be the Western Conference Final. We're both picking Vancouver. In the East, Miami hosting NYCFC, a game we've seen quite a few times over the years. Boy, how pumped must Miami be right now, thinking, hey, we escaped Cincinnati. We looked great. We look like we're peaking at the right time. Messi's in perfect form. He's not hurt. He didn't get hurt with national team duty. There's nothing of those lines. We are 2 games away from cementing this MLS legacy project right before we move into our new stadium. I mean, that you could not draw it up better for them. Are they going to get it done though?
What do you think?
It's how can you say no? How can you say no
Exactly.
right
You can't
now?
say no. I mean, they.
But it's still NYCFC in the playoffs with these guys who just don't go away, and Maxi Morales, who is becoming a league legend, obviously.
I think
And
he is, to be
he
honest.
is a guy that you just don't want to face in the playoffs, but still. Philly was the masters of their own downfall. I just can't see Miami doing the same thing.
I personally see Miami winning 2-0 pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
Again, this is a game that we kind of talked about when we talked about Miami. This is a game that they will control.
Yeah.
NYCFC is going to give them the ball and say, "Okay, we're going to figure out they will be able to control that game." But that's also going to cause moments of frustration, right? That's where I think the only thing that I think could be a little muddy is the moments of frustration that could come if NYCFC is sitting back and all of a sudden, wow, I can't. Rodrigo DePaul can't find. I'm just making up Jordi Alba, or
Right. Right.
they struggle to find Messi because the spaces are condensed, etc. That's where I think the frustration will lie because while Miami controls games in that regard, if you're NYCFC, you're taking notes and you're saying we're gonna chop your shit down, like
Yeah.
we're gonna go after
And
you guys.
and also there is one spot where NYCFC has the huge advantage, and it's a very important spot, and that is in
Goalkeeper.
goal.
Yep.
Exactly. So if NYCFC can get to penalty kicks, obviously that's way easier said than done. If they can get that far, though, you're going to back Matt Freeze over whoever
Yep.
Inter Miami's putting in goal.
Rios Novo.
But they just looked so good against Cincinnati, and even in that third game against Chicago, they looked like they looked,
Nashville.
Nashville. Sorry, they just looked like there was this confidence to them that they're not going to be stopped. Can't look past Inter Miami. That would set up, boy, an incredible final: Miami versus Vancouver, Messi versus Muller. That would be fun. We'll see what happens. Real quick on the MLS hot stove, we will be getting into plenty of transactions soon as teams make their decisions. That might be an off-season uh, topic of just kind of different roster decisions that teams make.
Hot seat, cool throne. Taking
Yeah,
some
we
part in my take stuff.
we can get into that. But right now, a coaching championship winner here in MLS over the last few years, Wilfred Nancy. I don't think it's officially announced yet, but it's basically confirmed he's going to move to Celtic, where he's going to replace Brendan Rodgers, who interim manager was Martin O'Neill, but he's going to replace Brendan Rodgers in the hot seat for Celtic. There's many facets to this that you could talk about. From, is this a smart move for Wilfred Nancy? What does this mean? Like, why did he make this move? But first off, like, does this mean much for MLS?
It's tough because when you,
We wait 10 seconds
yeah,
and
for
then
me to say it's
I'm
tough.
cutting
Yeah,
out that. Yeah, I'm cutting out that
yeah,
time.
yeah. Man, that lead up was a little too much, huh? It's tough because we've seen MLS coaches go to Europe, right? But they've failed. I mean, Patrick
Well, and
Vieira. Well,
I
Patrick
don't
Vieira,
think there has been a coach go straight from MLS to a team this successful. Obviously,
right?
Patrick Vieira to Nice, right? Like,
Yeah.
but not a team that has the expectations, the fan base, nothing like this, right? I'm probably forgetting someone, but nothing like this.
No, I don't think so either. And I, if he does good, it's a good thing for MLS. If he does bad, I don't think anyone cares. Is that like a weird way to describe it?
I,
Like
yeah,
he
I
can
mean,
always come back to MLS.
do you think it's the right move for Nancy though?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would get out of Columbus as soon as possible. Look, the Columbus crew that we know is not there anymore. And I think people need to start realizing this.
Hmm.
The layers and the foundation that Tim Bezbachenko has put out there, he's gone now. He's watered those things. Teams have poached personnel from the Columbus
And
crew
players.
and players. We saw Cucho Hernandez leave. He was a huge part of that. He went from being an MLS guys, by the way, to starting in La Liga,
Right, right.
like that.
And not
Like
even starting, but being one of the best forwards in La Liga.
exactly. This is not the Columbus crew that we, all came and saw them win Leagues Cup, saw, when they won MLS Cup, etc. This is a new Columbus crew,
Well,
and with Wasim Abu Ali kind of struggling to get
that's a
fit,
tough, yeah, that's a
etc.
tough part. It's tough to
Yeah,
judge, but yeah.
exactly. If I'm Wilfred Nancy, I think I talked about this at the beginning of the season. It seems like a cycle has ended
Hmm.
and that there needs to be fresh blood in there. Whether it is Wilfred Nancy leaving and other players coming in or a new coach coming, etc. This is not Tim Bezbachenko's team anymore. I said this
Right.
on Blue Sky. This is Issa Tall's team, and
Yeah.
Issa Tall has a big decision to make on how is he gonna make his mark on uh, this club. Daniel, like he has to hire a new coach. He probably has to bring in new players. You can't really ride the same players you consistently have. They have the infrastructure to do so because it was built by Bezbanchiko. But what are they going to do on top of it is my question. I think for Nancy, it makes total sense. You accomplished everything you can do outside of winning the Champions Cup, which you
And
went to the final.
I would love to know who made the final call in the Gazdag trade. I think that would be fascinating to know. I don't think we'll ever know, but I would love to know whether that
But
was
right now, it's a Tall's name.
I would love to know whether that was pushed by Wilfred Nancy or not, because that move was a flop and that move really kind of wrecked their season in a lot of ways. And you mentioned the changes. Aiden Morris, I mean, let's go back, right? Like Aiden Morris gone, Cucho Hernandez, and not that they were bad deals. Like you sell players.
No,
If you
you
want,
have to. It's going to
it's not a
happen.
criticism, but Aiden Morris gone, Cucho Hernandez gone, Nagby retiring. Arfton's going to get sold if he has a good World Cup, which I think he's going to make the team.
Yep.
Arfton would get sold if he has success there, because you'll get offers that you can't turn down for him, even though he just signed a new contract. You're still going to get offers that you can't turn down. So, what is the point of Nancy trying to rebuild this? I think it makes all the sense in the world. And Isatal is going to go out and find his guy who he wants to coach.
Right.
One thing I will say is for Wilfred Nancy, very it's a move you have to make because it's such a huge club. You do well there, you're going to the Premier League. We saw it with Steven Gerrard. We've seen it in plenty of Brendan Rodgers, different spots. There's a lot of drama there. As I was reading into it with Brendan Rodgers feuding with the staff. He won the double last year and got
Brendan
fired because they
Rodgers, though,
like. But remember the results. there are completely different.
That's
Like
true.
they're in second place. They won the double last year. And basically, as I understood it, Brendan Rodgers was saying, like, kind of lying about some of the stuff that the board was backing him on and different things like that. So
Brendan
he's not,
Rodgers. Okay, so there's a book called How to Win the Premier League. Have you seen that book at
I've heard
all?
of it. Yeah.
It's by I think it's Ian Graham. I think I could be, I'm probably messing with his name. He used to work at Liverpool.
Mhm.
And he was kind of the quote unquote architect of Liverpool's success. And one thing you could, if you read between the lines of that book, you could tell he hated working with Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah.
Like that guy's an asshole in some way that like we don't like. I don't know
Yeah.
why or I don't know why, but he just did not like working with Brendan Rodgers because
He's
he
like
would.
the Bill Belichick of
I mean,
of
and obviously the book is biased a little bit to make yourself look good, right? But it seems like every single bad decision that they made in Liverpool was associated with it was like for every three like or four bad ones, it was one good one with Brendan Rodgers. So maybe it's a Brendan Rodgers thing, but you're right. Celtic comes with a lot of pressure because you're expected to win every single year.
Yeah, not just win games, win the championship.
Yes.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But again, we're all rooting for him because it's good for MLS when that happens. All right, let's go down to Mexico. I'm bummed we've got John on assignment this week to not help us. But of course, subscribe if you haven't already to the Get CONCACAF
I have it open right
newsletter.
now.
If you Google Liguilla right now, his article is the first one that pops up. So it's a must read over these next few weeks because for those of you who've caught on to the show who listen, Armand and I, we're day trippers on the regular season in Liga MX, but we lock in during the Liguilla. It is some of the best soccer, just wild ass soccer you will watch. How it works is they've gone through this weird kind of qualifying round. 8 teams are left. We've got Juarez, and it starts tomorrow night on Wednesday. I guess tonight, if we put this out on Wednesday morning, it starts tonight. Juarez, Toluca, Monterrey, Club America, Tijuana, Cholos versus Tigres, and Chivas versus Cruz Azul. 3 games on Wednesday, 1 game on Thursday, 3 games on Saturday, 1 game on Sunday. They go Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. It took MLS 6 weeks to do the playoffs. In Mexico, it takes 3 weeks. It's a 3 week just
The sprint.
3 week acid trip of football. So lock in for it, Armand. And by the way, on Wednesday night, the games are at 7, 9, and an 11 p.m. kickoff. Cholos
Wait,
versus
do we work on Thursday?
That's
No.
a good point. If you're, I remember in college, the Wednesday, you remember the day before Thanksgiving?
Yep.
That's like the number one drinking day of the year because everyone's home from school
Yep.
and no one has to do
Yep.
anything the next day. Everyone's back. So yeah, if you're binging late on Wednesday night, have the Liguilla on. But Armand, which of these four matchups is most intriguing to you?
It has to be one of the Grande versus Grande matchups, and for me,
One.
it's
Give me
America.
one. Give me one.
It's America Monterrey. I mean, come on,
Okay.
man. Like America is trying to get back to where it was, right?
Star
They've got
power.
they and they've struggled quite a bit. And the star, you took the words out. The star power in that game is just absolutely incredible. I mean, you look do this. I know which one John would say, by the way. I'm looking through this.
What's
John would
that?
say Toluca Juarez
Sure, sure.
because
It is well, but that's cool. You
Juarez
got
is cool,
the Liguilla
right?
and Juarez. That's pretty neat too.
Like the fact that Juarez made like Liguilla
Mhm.
and they've been slowly trending to this moment is I think incredible in its own right. They're gonna get their ass beat, I think, by Toluca pretty badly. But like
Probably yes.
but like all these matchups are great. I mean,
But
I
yeah,
don't know which like
Monterrey America. I mean, all of the star power in it. Alan St. Maximin is Zendejas healthy? I need to double
I
check
think
on that one
so, but
because
I'm
I
not
know
sure, yeah.
obviously he wasn't
Yep.
in the last
But they've had a long
last
layoff
squad.
since then.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. They've had like 3 weeks off. Cholos can Gilberto Mora do it against Tigres. Like, hey, we've seen this 16-year-old do it on all
Yep.
of the stages. Can he do it in the Liguilla now? But for me, it's the 4 versus 5 matchup, Chivas versus Cruz Azul.
Oof.
Because for this one, and John's talked about this guy, the name Hormiga Gonzalez. Like, this is a name. If you don't know him now, you will know him very soon. I'm not sure if he's going to get into the Mexico World Cup squad. We'll see. 22 years old, leading Liga MX in goals this year with 12 goals, tied for the lead. But this is a guy where we talk about who can make statements in these playoffs. Can Gilberto Mora do it? Can Hormiga Gonzalez do it? Like, can Paulinho stay as, kind of the top scorer in Mexico? You've got Brunetta, you've got Sergio Canales, you've got Berterame, all of these names. But for me, and then you think about like Cruz Azul, They won the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And remember last year they only lost on because in the Liguilla, which is how they should do it in MLS. If you're tied after two legs, the higher seed advances. Last year, Cruz Azul got knocked out. They tied Club America after two legs, but America was a higher seed, so they advanced. But remember, Cruz Azul won CONCACAF Champions Cup. So this is a real statement for Chivas. Is Chivas is kind of like the Texas Longhorns. Like, is Chivas back? We're gonna find
Literally.
out a little more on if
Is
Chivas is
Chivas
back.
back? I don't know. They almost were back well, a couple of years ago. But again, Liguilla is just I don't know how to describe it outside of just wild ass.
No, it's
Like
just it's a yeah it's an
if you're
acid
a
trip of
tactical
soccer.
nerd and you're sitting there like, oh, they're not running the tactics properly, this is not for you.
This is
Go,
not for you.
yeah, go watch your Premier League and have fun and drink a tea in the morning. This is wild ass straight like you're going. These teams are going ban, and it doesn't matter what team you are, right? Even if it's Juarez, they're gonna want to make an impression in that
Yeah.
first game that they have at home, or even if it's Cholos, they're gonna do their best to do the first big impression at home. Now imagine the Grandes as well. The only thing I wish, Daniel, this is a very weird wish. I wish they had one more game on Thanksgiving
Yeah, that'd be
because
nice. That'd be nice.
because
But
usually what I would do is watch a Cowboys game.
mhm.
I'd be disappointed. I would go to sleep and then take a nap, and then I'd wake up from there watching Liga MX.
Well, there's one game on Thursday
I
night.
think I wish it was one more.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm selfish. I want one
Yeah, I
more,
wonder
you
why
know?
they did the triple header. But again, and to go to your point, like these games happen so fast. Something happens on Wednesday, they're playing again on Sunday. You're
I mean,
not
nothing
waiting.
is happening on Wednesday though,
So,
so like I think maybe
but
it's
what
a
I
good
mean
idea
is
to
if
have.
they get a red card, if something
Yep,
carries over like from one game to another, yeah, it happens quick. So, anyways, tune in for those. Lock in for the Ligia. We'll be back next week to talk about that. We'll talk about MLS Cup. And we can preview the World Cup draw, Armand. That is going to be fun too. We know
I
the pot
forgot
sounds.
about
So
that.
thank you for listening, and we will catch you next week.
See you, John.